Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you are having a wonderful day so far. This is day 4 of 30-day interview preparation series to help you get landed for the data analytics job. And in day 4, we'll try covering the questions that are most commonly asked for the Excel specifically. So now without much delay, let's get into the video. So to start with, let's first see what all questions we will be covering in this particular video. So first and foremost, explain the difference and the use cases for relative, absolute and mixed cell references. That is one of the most commonly asked interview questions. How do you find the total sales for a specific product category using a single formula? I tried providing a simple hint also that for this particular question, you can use SUMIF function. So if you got an idea on how to solve it, you can comment down below for the same. And then there's a question that explain the logic and the required arguments for the if function. Next is write a formula to check if a customer's total purchase is over $1,000 and they are a platinum member. So this basically requires the use of AND function nested within if. So that is again a hint. If you got an idea, you can comment down the answer by yourself. Otherwise, we'll try covering the answers in the later part of this video. Next is describe the use case for the concatenate operator, or we can also say AND operator. When would you use the COUNTIF versus the COUNTIFS function? How do you use the conditional formatting to all the sales below the average? That is also one of the most commonly asked question, and this can be asked in different ways as well, but that is one of the example that I can provide for this particular video. What is the purpose of freezing panes? What is the function of the text function, and provide an example for it. Describe a scenario where an advanced filter is required over a simple filter. Next is, how do you quickly inspect the summary statistics of a selected range cells? So summary statistics herein refers that how do you inspect sum, average, count, min, max, all those things for a selected range cells. So that is also something that we'll try covering in this video. This is the overall agenda or the questions that we'll be covering into this particular video. Now let's get started with the first and foremost question, that is explain the difference and the use case for the relative, absolute and mixed cell references. So relative basically changes when when it is copied. What does it mean? That it is basically nothing, as if whatever we are copying, that will get copied as it is without any changes. Now absolute basically absolute basically locks up both the column and the row value that is there. If we are having any tax rate like the fixed constants that are there, then we will be using the absolute cell referencing, and that's how we represent the absolute cell referencing. There will be dollar, the column value, then dollar again, and then the row number. So that's how it has been represented. Now the mixed is basically the combination. Either we will be locking in the column value, or we will be locking it up in the row value. So whatever case is as per the requirement, we will try locking one of the values, either the row or the column. So that is basically the difference between the relative, absolute and mixed cell references. Next is, how do you find the total sales for a specific product category using a single formula? So that's how, as I've mentioned in the previous statement also when we were talking, that we can utilize SUMIF statements. Let's say we have C column in there, wherein the electronics category, for the product category we are taking it up as electronics, and then that is what we are passing into our SUMIF statements. So that's how we can calculate the total sales for a specific product category. Now next is explain the logic and the required arguments for the if function. So if function basically checks whether the logical test that we have passed is true or false. Okay, so the arguments or the syntax for the same is if logical test or the condition that we were trying to pass in, value if the condition is true, and then the value with the separated comma separated value if the false. So this is the overall syntax for the if function, and the arguments are logical test, value if true, and value if false. Next question is, write a formula to check if a customer's total purchase is over $1,000 and they are a platinum member. Platinum membership has been given on a C2 cell value, and the purchase, the total purchase has been given in B2. So this is the condition that we want to use, and this basically requires the AND function nested within if. Okay. Now what that means is we are trying to compare two different conditions into it. One is the platinum membership and one is the total purchase over $1,000. So B2 greater than 1,000, C2 is equals to platinum, like the membership is equals to platinum. So that is what the condition we have passed in, and these both the condition needs to be true, and therefore we have given the AND function in it. I hope you are already aware of AND or NOT operators. If not, please learn about those functions. So AND function basically returns true when both the statements are true. So if this condition B2 greater than 1,000 and C2 equals to platinum, if both the conditions will be true, then only if function will return true. So that's how we can calculate or we can write a formula to check if the customer's total purchase is over $1,000 and they are a member of like they are platinum member. So that is one of the questions. Next is, describe the use case for the concatenate or the AND operator. Concatenate in anything, whatever, like if we are using Excel, SQL or Python, wherever we are using the concatenate or the AND operator, they basically refers to the same thing, that is basically used to join or join the text strings that we have already have. So from different cells, if we have the text strings and we want to join it together, we will be using the concatenate or the AND operator. So this is the example that I have given. Let's say there's A2 means the first name. Let's say A2 is in the first name refers to, and B2 refers to the last name. Now we want to get the full name of some member. So we'll be doing A2 and then we will be passing on a space so that there is a space between the first name and last name. First name and space again and then last name, so that there is a space between. A2 is already a string, B2 is already a string, and we are passing space as a string, and then we are concatenating all of them with the AND operator or the concatenate operator. I hope that was clear. Next question is, when would you use the COUNTIF versus the COUNTIFS function? So you might have used them already and you might be already aware of it, but this question can be asked in interview, so you can answer it in this way, that we use COUNTIF function when counting based on a single criteria, like counting orders from California or counting orders from New Zealand, something of those side. Only a single condition is there, then we will be using the COUNTIF. If there are multiple conditions, when we are counting based on a multiple condition, let's say counting orders from California placed in Q1. So there are two conditions. First is orders from California, and then there is from the Q1. So that when there will be multiple conditions, we will be using COUNTIFs. When there is only a single condition, then we will be using COUNTIF. Hope that was clear. Next is, how do you use conditional formatting to highlight all the sales below the average? So now for that, we will be having in Excel, we will be having one of the sales column. So for that, we'll select that sales column. We'll go into the conditional formatting. We'll then choose the top or the bottom rows, and then we'll select the below average, and this will basically flag out the underperforming items without them manually being filtered. So that's how we can calculate all the sales below the average, basically utilizing the conditional formatting method. Now, what is the purpose of freezing panes? So freezing panes is basically that is basically used to keep the specific rows. Like when we are moving downwards, we want the column headers to show up and not get hidden in behind. So for that, we can utilize freezing panes so that it basically shows up those column headers without being hidden. So freezing panes is basically used to keep the specific rows or the columns visible while we are scrolling through a larger data set, maintaining that context and readability. So if we want what all data has been written into that particular column, we must be able to see what is the data that has been stored in that particular column, and to be able to understand that, the column name should be visible. So for those particular cases, we can utilize freezing panes. Now, next question is describe a scenario wherein advanced filter is required over a simple filter, right? So for that, advanced filter is basically needed when there is applying a complex criteria that basically involves combining multiple and or conditions. So when we are doing that kind of a thing, then we can utilize advanced filter. Otherwise, the normal filter can be handy and can be do for the filtration. So basically, to answer this question, you can say somewhat like that an advanced filter is needed when we are applying complex criteria that involves combining multiple and or conditions, or when the filter results needs to be copied to a separate location on the worksheet. That's when we can utilize advanced filter. Otherwise, simple filter could do that work. So that is one other question that we have covered. Now the next question is, what is the function of text function, or what is the criteria for the text function, and give me an example for the same. So text function basically converts a value to text in a specific number format. So let's say we have that example. For example, we have given the text and the value that we will be having in A1 cell value, and then we are passing it as DDYYY. So that basically shows us that we are passing on a date value which is in A1 column, and that we are trying to convert it into text. So now when we'll do that thing, that basically displays us the A1 as a date, which is January, because we have used 4M in that place. So full January will come into picture. Date, the DD represents the date, which is, let's say, 0, and YYYY represents the year 2024 or 25 whatsoever. So that is basically the example that we can provide. Now the next question is, how do you quickly inspect the summary statistics, like the sum, average, count of a selected range of a cells? So we can do that by simply selecting the range of cells, and the summary statistics will appear automatically in the status bar at the bottom of the Excel window, if you have noticed that. So if we have already a cell, we can just select that particular column value, and we'll be getting all the things below in the status bar. And if we are not getting it, we can right click on that column, and we can select what all values we want to see in the status bar and at the bottom. So that's how we can see those statistics basically at the bottom of the Excel window. Hope these questions were clear, and hope you are somehow getting handy with the questions that are being asked into data analytics interview questions. And I hope it was helpful for you.